us. And last week we talked a bit about personal stories. Maybe just a recap of that, because so important that people would understand that that story, that narrative of our lives plays such an important part in our general wellness.
Yeah, I think we did two things. We challenged people to come forward with their own personal stories so that we could get them and share them and encourage others with personal experience from people out there that have had a successful lifestyle transformation. And we're hoping that we'll get some really good stories there that we can share in good time.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can actually pop a message through on WhatsApp if you want to, or either go onto the Impact Radio Facebook channel. You can pop a message there as well. There was also an email address that they can use.
If they go to our website, they can find the show notes from last week, and there's a whole series of questions which will help you to go through that. So the things that came out last week is that if you are in a good space with your health and wellness, then you should be encouraging others to do the same, and being proactive there. And we're there to assist your church, your congregation, your small group to achieve that. And then if you aren't there, then you should be doing something about improving your health. And over the last sort of 12 weeks, we've gone into a lot of depth around the first three areas that we focus on: spiritual, nutrition, and exercise. And we'll just recap on that a little quickly. But today we're going to tackle and just give some pointers and tips on improving and your sleep and the importance of breathing correctly.
Yeah, I think you've positioned it this way, that you have these three major components, and if you can play around with these three things, if you can or influence these three parts, I should say, part of your life, then generally you would absolutely start to see good results if you yes. just do a little bit in all of these. But there are other things that you can then start to work on progressively as you've increased these three major components. What are these three first ones that we talk about?
Well, the first one that we want to emphasize is your spiritual growth and your spiritual goal. And there we're aiming to get to a point where we glorify the Lord in all that we do, and that we are of service to others. And in order to do that, you need to renew your mind in the Word, and that on a continual basis, and then discover your passion and your purpose. And that helps you identify your why. And once you've got a strong understanding of your why, that gives you the strength and the ability to persevere with your nutrition and your exercise plan. So that's why we start with the spiritual component.
Absolutely. And then if you can figure out that why, and we've said also that why is scriptural. I think many Christians, we've talked about this, disconnect their health and wellness from their spirituality, maybe until they get sick, then it becomes a spiritual matter. Yeah. But it's spiritual before that.
Yeah, we need to nurture and care for our bodies, and that's very scriptural. And you need to love yourself before you can love others. So the concept of taking care of yourself, you might view it as being selfish, but it's exactly the opposite. Because if you don't look after your health, you become a burden to your family and to your loved ones, and to society as a whole. So, and it's totally within your control through your nutrition and your exercise to have a very positive impact on your health and wellness.
Yeah.
And so, if we step off from the spiritual foundation, then on a nutrition side, we a lot more concerned there at your overall body composition than your weight as an exact number. And there we're trying to increase your muscle mass and decrease the percentage of body fat. And a key indicator there is your height to waist ratio. So the circumference of your waist should not be more than 50% of your height. And if you fall into that category, great, well done. And if you don't, then you need to do something about it. Essentially, you're ahead of schedule on eating, and you need to, the easiest way to actually come back in line is what we've been speaking a lot about, is fasting and intermittent fasting. So that initially will help you get your blood sugar and all sorts of other things back under control, and then from there you can improve the quality of what you eat. So again, just to reiterate, it's about what you eat, when you eat, and how much you eat. And if you are in control of those and your body is not dictating to you, then you're in a good space with your nutrition.
Yeah. Those three levers that you can move around in terms of nutrition to try and be as effective as possible in making a difference. And then we'll talk about exercise now, but I mean, also one of the things you've mentioned, you want to increase muscle weight, you want to decrease fat composition, and that one part, resistance training, was something that you've mentioned that's quite important as well, because this increasing in muscle mass, lots of people try and stay away from that in the beginning when they're trying to lose weight, but that actually really assists in doing that.
Yeah, simplistically, we divide things into the resistance training, which is some gym or some sort of progressive load or overload, and cardio, and you need both. Or the cardio plays a much smaller role in increasing your muscle mass, but it improves your cardiovascular fitness, your general fitness. So things like walking and running and cycling and getting your heart rate up and sustaining an elevated heart rate for a period. And then on the resistance training side, you can even start with body weight. So push-ups against the counter, dips, squats, just with your own body weight. But the trick is to progressively do more, either in quantity or in load, or do it faster. So you are progressively putting your body under more strain, and that's a good thing, because your body responds to that. And then hopefully you're eating enough protein that you can actually start putting on muscle mass.
Yeah, just out of a practical point, maybe now with level 4 new regulations, gyms are closed, just maybe reminding people that that does not have to mean that we don't have to exercise. There's a lot we can do at home.
Absolutely. So you need to get creative, and there's plenty that you can go and search for and look for and find on YouTube and other places. Or you can contact us. We do offer, personal training programs and help people out remotely. So the jokes aside, that's one of the things that they do as Jokes Aside Fitness. So you can, go to almightywarrior.me, find the link there, or go straight to jokesaside.fitness and get help on what you can do creatively at home now. Without any equipment.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, a reminder for you, you can also be a part of this conversation. You can WhatsApp us on 071 364 0376, 071 364 0376. You can also watch the conversation live on Facebook Live, by the way. We're broadcasting there at the moment on Facebook, Impact Radio's page. And then go over to the almightywarrior.me webpage. So much of the information we've shared, the show notes are available there, different information on all three of these main components as well. And like today, we're stepping onto some extra things that one can do.
Yeah, I thought it would be a good idea to just give a few tips around how to improve your sleep, or what you can do if you're struggling with sleep, and just to give a few pointers on breathing as well. So if you don't think breathing is important, then stop breathing and see how long you can hold your breath for. So your breathing has a direct impact on your sympathetic, parasympathetic nervous system. And the tips that I want to give there are, God gave you a nose for a reason. You should be using it for breathing. You should be breathing in and out through your nose, not your mouth. And you need to make a concerted effort to do that. And then it's all about taking gentle, deep breaths. So you're wanting to inhale for sort of between 4 to 6 seconds, and you want to exhale between sort of 6 and 8 seconds. And that sounds easy, but you need to do it to see how difficult it actually is. And it's not something that we easily do. So we've adapted to only doing shallow breathing and using the top half of our lungs, and that's very detrimental. So the oxygen uptake is far more efficient if the oxygen stays in your lungs for a longer period of time. So there's a guy called Patrick McKeown, you spell his surname McKeown, and we've got links there to our channel where we've got videos, some of his videos, but he goes into a lot of detail around breathing, the importance of it, how it works, how to unblock your nose, etc., and how to get the most out of something that you are already doing all day, every day, but you possibly are doing it incorrectly.
Yeah, absolutely. And anybody who, like me, whose mouth opens up the moment they go to sleep and you start breathing through the mouth knows how detrimental it is, because it dries out, everything dries out the throat.
Yeah.
Definitely something that's not as easy to do.
You might have a good laugh now, but one of the things that he recommends you try doing is to tape your mouth closed at night. I've been doing that with a 3M product called Micropore. So I tape my mouth closed at night, and now my wife can get a good night's sleep because I don't snore. And it's made a tremendous improvement to contribute to improving my sleep. So the nasal breathing, and it certainly has been beneficial, and I do that regularly.
Yeah, I've seen people employ the same technique with training often to ensure that they're actually using their nose to breathe.
Yeah, that could be challenging, especially if you're doing something with a high intensity. So I've been focusing hard on doing nasal breathing when I run, and it took a lot of getting used to. And even now, when I really push it, I have to revert to breathing through my mouth. But I am improving, and it's had a really big impact on my average heart rate, which has dropped.
Okay, let's talk sleep as well, because I think that's an important one that lots of people underestimate the value of, especially me. I get up so early.
I think what I'll do, just I'll rattle through some tips, and then we can pick up on one or two of them. So you're wanting to minimize your stress wherever possible, and that goes for worry, which is a fixation on the past, or anxiety, which is a fixation on the future. So you need to try and live more in the present. You need to stop eating about 3 hours before you plan on going to sleep. It's beneficial to get outside early mornings and evenings. That helps to set your biological clock, and get you into that routine. And then you need to try and not train just before you go to bed. It elevates your core temperature, and it makes it more difficult. And then I think one of my big challenges is cutting out blue light. So they talk about having a digital sunset, where you stop bombarding yourself with blue light in the evenings, and that overstimulates the brain. Limiting alcohol and smoking and coffee from the latter part of your day and your evenings, and then reducing your body temperature, or reducing the temperature of your room so that you can have a lower body temperature, also improves your sleep. And the expert there on sleep is a guy by the name of Matt Walker, and I've got some links down below and on the show notes that you can listen to what he has to say around sleep in detail.
You've mentioned technology and blue light. One of the things that a lot of people might not know is that so many of your more recent devices, smartphones, computers, I think even televisions these days, have settings with a clock, where you can switch it off from, let's say, 6 p.m. You can automatically switch your phone so that it removes all of that blue light from the screen after a certain time period. So it's actually something that you can do. And it becomes sort of a mental reminder as well that, it's almost time to go to bed.
Yeah. So, for me, I don't use an alarm to wake up in the morning. I wake up when I finished sleeping. I wasn't getting anywhere near enough sleep. So I would only get maximum 6 hours of sleep a night. So in order for me to improve on my performance from a sport point of view, I needed to improve my sleep and my, the impact that it's had. So I'm now up to sort of getting to just over 7 hours sleep, but the goal is certainly to get to around 8 hours or more. It's something that you really need to work on. It's very important because when you sleep, your body recovers and it flushes all sorts of toxins and chemicals out of, in particular, your brain. But it also gives your body what it needs to grow and to recover. So we haven't gone into why you need to sleep and why you need to breathe properly. I'm assuming that those are given, and if you want to know more detail, there's plenty of information on our channel around that. But just to focus on some of the tips of what you need to be doing to improve.
Let's talk about some of those resources again, Alec, just taking people through what's available to them. Maybe somebody that hasn't been listening for the last 12 weeks. They've just tuned in now. I know we've mentioned the website, but what exactly are people looking for and what's available to them?
Well, under the courses tab on the website, we've got 3 free introductory courses, 3 slightly more in-depth courses with a small fee, and a 10-day challenge. But we've also got a YouTube channel where we've collected all sorts of really interesting videos, and we've arranged them in the playlists. And those are from experts in the field around the world. And they will certainly help you to go on this experimental journey that we are recommending that you take really personally, because you've been uniquely created. And what works for me doesn't necessarily work for you. And we've both got very different stories and historical injuries or illnesses that we have overcome. So you really do need to, whether we're talking your spiritual journey, your nutrition, exercise, sleeping, breathing, you need to be open-minded, and you need to go and look into it and then take out of the information what you think is valid and applicable to you, and then experiment with it, try it, and find what works for you, and then stick with what works and improve your own health.
Yeah, absolutely. What's so great about it, you've alluded to it now, is that once you go on this journey or you make this decision to actually improve your health, improve your general feeling, your spiritual health, your emotional health, your physical health, you really do get to know yourself as well. I think a lot of people have that story, but they're not even aware of their own stories, aren't they?
Yeah, everything is so interconnected. So, if you are spiritually not in a good place, if you're depressed, then one of the best ways to counter that is to do physical activity. And that sort of upregulates your mood and helps you to overcome depression. So your body, your mind, and your soul are connected, and you wanting to through the renewing of your mind with the spirit is to try and get everything in line, so that you are healthy and strong, and that you are in control of your body, and your body is not dictating to you what you need to eat or drink. And once you're in that space, you're in a much better place to glorify the Lord in all you do and actually be of use and service to others.
Absolutely. And such a vital time. I mean, we're just feeling now the pressures of a new lockdown. And I think there's been a few times in our personal histories, in our lifetime, where we've become so aware of how much your general health, can make a big influence with something like we've seen with the coronavirus.
Yeah, with the previous waves of the coronavirus in particular, it was really evident that those that were overweight and not looking after themselves were taking real strain and suffering under the virus. This latest variant seems to be even attacking and hitting the healthy individuals quite hard too. So in general, I just want to encourage people to do whatever they can to improve their health and their wellness, and that puts you in the best possible position to handle the curveballs that life throws at you, whatever they may be.
Absolutely. Well, talking to Alec Avierinos, he's the founder of Almighty Warriors, and I really want to encourage you to go to the website. You'll find so much valuable resources there, almightywarrior.me. You can also find this conversation on our Facebook page afterwards. So if you've just caught the end of it and you want to find out more about how you can make a difference or what you can do today, then go and watch the conversation again. You can also share it with friends and families, of course. And then Alec would love to hear from you. He'd love for you to use the contact us on the almightywarrior.me page to tell your story, to also share with him, and you can find all the valuable resources on there. I know you guys also have a bunch of links to external resources, Alec, available.
Yeah, most certainly. And I think the message that we're trying to get across is that we would love to support you to get the message across to your church, your congregation, and your family and friends to start doing something about looking after their personal health and taking it more seriously, and enjoy life. So, you're either doing it to avoid illness, or you're doing it for the positive benefits of being healthy and well and being able to enjoy your old age.
Yeah, absolutely. Alec Avierinos, thank you so much. Alec, joining us again. And all the best with the training, early mornings in the winter.
Yeah, no, it does make it more challenging, but it's invigorating and very fresh out early.
All right, we'll have this conversation again. That concludes our